Hey everybody, so just to continue on here, health effects of cell phones, cell phone towers, antennas, and 5G devices. Based on the available scientific evidence, there are no health risks from exposure to the low levels of radio frequency EMF which people are exposed to from cell phones, cell phone towers, antennas, and 5G 5G devices. Thousands of scientific studies have evaluated the safety of radio frequency EMF. Evidence from these studies established only two adverse effects that can occur at levels above the Canadian limit. This is interesting. This is the Canadian limit too, so this is different than American standards. Tissue heating, such as the warming of your skin. Nerve stimulation, which can cause a tingling sensation in your skin. The occurrence of these health effects depends on a combination of the intensity of radio frequency EMF exposure, how long you're exposed to radio frequency EMF, the distance of your body from the source of radio frequency EMF. The Canadian radio frequency safety requirement provides protection against all established health effects. You see, now that's the type of shit we need here in America. I haven't looked at what the regulations are concerning our use of cell phone towers and this and that, but based on the way that we use our food and a lot of other things, I would assume that there probably isn't the same type of regulations. However, I still find it hard to believe that they've found no health risks at all from using these devices. I still think that I'm not a scientist, but just what I've learned in this life, I still think that just even using it at slow or low doses is still going to have a low effect on you. It may not be very bad, but it's still, to say it has no harmful effects or no health risks is, in my opinion, just not as accurate as it could be. But again, I'm not a scientist. That's kind of what my intuition is telling me. But let's continue on here with some misinformation and health concerns. All right, misinformation and opinions on health risks from exposure to radio frequency EMF are increasing on the internet and social media. Most recently, there have been claims linking 5G networks to COVID-19. There is no scientific basis for these claims. This is supported by the World Health Organization, which is I need to do some research into that because they're International Commission of Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. I have never heard of these people, so I'm going to be looking into both these. I know a little bit about this, but I have not heard about them. Anyway, let's move on. Another frequent concern is the potential for radio frequency EMF to increase the risk of cancer. So another frequent concern, okay. The scientific evidence does not support a link between cancer and exposure to radio. See, like when they word it like this, the scientific evidence does not support. So like that word support right there is a very critical word because like in order to support something, they have to show conclusive evidence that what this one thing is doing based on a person's life is actually specifically causing this other problem, which is hard to do in the human body when you have so many different things going on, creating so many different things. But in my opinion, my intuition is telling me it's incorrect. I do think that using more EMF technology does actually support cancer, but that's my opinion, and that's just kind of what my intuition is telling me. I could be wrong, though. Let's move on. All right, so exposure to radio frequency EMFs at the levels permitted by Canadian exposure guidelines. There have been some studies reporting an increase in incidence of brain cancer among long-term heavy cell phone users. However, other studies conducted around the world, including studies assessing brain cancer trends among large populations, did not find. See, and that's the way they debunk stuff too. It's like, okay, they find a study that's supportive of it maybe causing cancer, so that they share that because they have to, because they know the evidence is out there. So then they'll go and they'll be like, okay, well, let's get another second reading. Let's get a second estimate somewhere else in a completely different situation and see what that says. And then they use that to say that, well, then we actually did, tests on this and this and that and that and this. And you see that the subjects, if they're not eating the same things, the test is invalid. I mean, if you're going to test something, you guys got to have the X variables. You got to have the same type of, it's got to be the same. Otherwise, if you're dealing with variables, then you can't expect to test something and get the same type of results from two different types of things. If you want to see what fluctuates and what adds a variable to an equation, you got to have the same equation, then you add that variable, and you have the original equation done the original way with that answer, and then you have the equation with the variable, and you have that new answer. But if you guys keep changing the foundation of the equations, then it's not corresponding information. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, there is no established scientific evidence that those who use cell phones are at increased risk of experiencing adverse health effects with the Canadian limits in place. These include children and teenagers. However, if you wish to further reduce your exposure, so it's like the limits. Like the thing about that though is like, what if a child decides just to watch their phone all day long? Like, don't you think that's going to have some harmful effects, even just to their eyeballs? So it's like, I like Canada and they do a lot of good things there that we should learn from here in America, but they still got some funkiness, which, you know, it is what it is. It seems to be all over the place, but they're doing things better. So I do like seeing that. So yeah, you can text instead of calling. You can use hands-free devices, limiting the length of the cell phone call. So right there, when they say things like this, they're telling you right there, though, yeah, the less you use your cell phone, the less it's going to be for you. Based on that right there, I can say that there is actual evidence that health effects do come from using your phone longer, even if you use it within the Canadian limits. So you got to be careful, man. These people really know how to word things in a way that makes it look safe and good when it actually isn't. So that's why the devil is in the details. So, but anyway, all in all, I'm actually happy for this website, and I'm going to do more research to correspond it. And then I also wanted to share the difference between technologies. Like all of these technologies, the iPhone, Samsung, all of these things are made from profit-based companies, which have their own inherent spiritual wickedness with it. So what's the difference between those type of companies and a company out of hemp that's made from non-profit, that's made from completely biodegradable materials, that's doing nothing but helping heal the earth and humanity by spreading good technology? Because through this good technology, we can also spread good messages. We can also eliminate or greatly reduce the amount of bad technology that's continuing to get perpetuated. So it's good news all around. Also, the health effects. Like, I think that those type of energies, the batteries of the hemp, the whole compound of the hemp plant, I find it very, very hard to believe that it's going to produce cancer in me the way that these other devices seem to be doing so. Again, we need to find out more research on exactly what's going on with that. But from what I've heard in the grapevine, it seems like these phones and these devices are producing lower vibrational energetic fields, which do perpetuate lower vibrational energies, which do perpetuate cancers or things of destruction. So, all right, I love you guys. Hope you have a good day. Bye.